Tonight, you will probably lie in bed and stare at the ceiling. Your thoughts will race. Your body will feel heavy, but your mind will refuse to shut down. You will check your phone, put it down, pick it up again, stare at the time, calculate how many hours you have left if you fall asleep right now. And somehow, that calculation will make everything worse. You have probably been told this is a modern problem. Too much screen time, too much stress, too much coffee, and maybe those things play a role. But the real answer is far stranger. Your brain was never designed for the way you sleep. For most of human history, nobody slept the way you are expected to sleep tonight. The idea of one long, unbroken 8-hour block is not ancient wisdom. It is an industrial invention. And understanding that fact might be the most useful thing you learn this year. Historian A. Roger Ekirch spent 16 years at Virginia Tech digging through thousands of documents, ancient diaries, court records, medical texts, literature, prayer books. He found references to sleep patterns across centuries and across cultures, and what he discovered quietly changed the field. People slept twice. They called it first sleep and second sleep. You would fall asleep not long after dark, sleep for 3 to 4 hours, then wake naturally somewhere around midnight. You would stay awake for an hour, sometimes 2. Then you would drift back into what was called second sleep and rest until morning. This was not insomnia. This was not a disorder. This was the normal human sleep pattern for most of recorded history and probably long before records existed. That middle hour was not empty time. It was not wasted. Your ancestors treated it as one of the most valuable hours of the day. Some used it to pray. Others wrote in journals or lay quietly and let their thoughts unspool in a state somewhere between dreaming and waking. Couples talked in the dark in ways they could not during the noise of the day. Some people got up and visited neighbors because those neighbors were also awake. A French doctor in the 15th century, Jehan Yperman, recommended that middle hour for conception specifically because both the body and the mind were in a state of deep calm. Not sleep, not full wakefulness, something richer than either. This pattern had a name in many languages. In Old English texts, you find it written plainly. First sleep ends. A person wakes. Second sleep follows. There was nothing alarming about it. It was simply how nights worked. So what destroyed it? Gas lamps arrived in European cities in the early 1800s. Streets that had been dark for all of human history were suddenly lit. Social life extended into the evening. Then electric light came, and the night was no longer a boundary. It was just more time to be productive. Factories needed workers at predictable hours. Schools followed schedules. The idea of sleeping in 2 segments began to seem inefficient, even primitive. Within a few generations, the old pattern was not just forgotten. It became pathologized. Doctors began treating midnight wakefulness as a symptom. Pharmaceutical companies built entire product lines around it. The sleep you are chasing tonight, that perfect seamless 8 hours, was invented somewhere around the Industrial Revolution. Before that, it barely existed. Psychiatrist Thomas Wehr at the National Institute of Mental Health decided to test what would happen if you removed artificial light from the equation entirely. In the 1990s, he gave volunteers 14 to 16 hours of darkness every night for several weeks. No screens, no electric light, just darkness and time. Without any instruction, without any suggestion, almost every volunteer settled into the same pattern. First sleep, a calm, restful waking period of 1 to 2 hours. Second sleep. The ancient rhythm returned on its own, as if it had been waiting just beneath the surface of modern life. Your body still carries that rhythm. It has not forgotten. You have simply been living in a world that never told you it existed. So here is where this becomes practical. The next time you wake at 2 in the morning, your instinct will be to panic, to calculate, to grab your phone and flood your retinas with blue light and feel the slow dread of another night slipping away from you. That panic is not neutral. It triggers a release of cortisol, the stress hormone, which tells your body that something is wrong, which makes sleep harder, which increases the panic. You turn a natural pause into a genuine problem through the act of fearing it. What your ancestors did instead was almost nothing. They lay still. They let their thoughts move at their own pace. They did not resist the wakefulness or feel shame about it. Some prayed, some thought about the next day. Some simply existed in the dark and found it restful in a way that sleep itself sometimes is not. Researchers today call this state quiescence. During that middle hour, the brain shows activity patterns that closely resemble deep meditation. Stress hormones drop. The mind processes memories and emotions with unusual clarity. It is not lost time. It may be, neurologically speaking, some of the most important time in your entire night. The problem is not that you wake up. The problem is what you do with the fear of waking up. Russell Foster at Oxford, one of the leading researchers in circadian biology, has spent years trying to shift how we think about sleep. His argument is simple. We have built a culture that treats any deviation from a single sleep block as failure, and that belief itself is making millions of people genuinely unwell. You are not broken. You are not ill. You are, in all likelihood, running a sleep pattern that kept your species alive and functioning for tens of thousands of years. The mismatch is not between you and sleep. It is between you and a set of expectations that are barely 200 years old. Tonight, if you wake at midnight and the ceiling stares back at you, try something different. Do not reach for your phone. Do not count the hours. Lie still. Let the dark be dark. Let your thoughts be slow. Your brain is not failing. It is remembering something very old. And for almost all of human history, that was exactly enough to carry you through to morning.